Hello everybody, my name is Brian Wells. I'm a graduate assistant at West Liberty University where I coach tight ends for the football team and I also do strength and conditioning for every other team. Right now I just want to talk to you about the psychosocial issues of a collegiate football coach and what they might deal with on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and what they might see throughout the year. Different issues the collegiate football coaches deal with can range in a variety of different things. Some of these issues are ones that deal with them personally, others with their athletes they coach, some with coaches they work with, and some issues that deal with opposing coaches and players. Some of these different topics we'll be covering are coach education and what coaches might do to continue learning and getting better at their craft. Coaching rules and regulations. These can be different rules from, say, the NCAA, their school, or just a league-wide basis. Specific team rules and regulations. These can be what coaches make for their team and to create a different team culture or just keep their players or athletes in line. Another issue could be team politics and social issues. We see this throughout our nation right now, just with different issues going on socially about how some players like to take a knee during the national anthem, different issues regarding that. Then we go into the coach and athlete relationship and how this could affect the coach, team, and the athletes in general. And then, along with this, grades and school policies. Again, this goes into some of the school rules that they might see. And then social issues with coaches. These stem from how a coach deals with positively and negatively in the community, workplace, and how they interact with the faculty, students, and administration at their school. And then sportsmanship and how this affects their team and other coaches. So we'll start with education. Coaches have many ways to continue to learn, grow, and get better as coaches. They can do this by learning from other coaches, studying philosophies of other coaches, and materials from different coaches and mentors. There are numerous resources coaches can use for this. For example, they have the American Football Coach Association, other known as AFCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, or the NSCA. X&O Labs and USA Football are two online tools coaches can use to learn more about positions, philosophies, and different things regarding football. And mental skills training, or Sportsmanship BC. I found this as more of a psychological, mental growth area for coaches that they can use. The AFCA is one of the best resources for a football coach. I'm a member myself, and I know every coach on our staff is also a member. They offer different ways to learn the game of football with individualized coaching sessions by position, philosophy talks to different coaches, general sessions that cover a wide range of areas, including off-the-field details and team culture. The NSCA is similar to the AFCA in this area, except it is for strength and conditioning. I'm a member of that as well as strength and conditioning coach. Many football coaches are involved with their strength and conditioning programs, and they want to learn more about it and how they can help their athletes in general get bigger, faster, stronger, and in better shape. X&O Labs and USA Football, like I said, are great online tools for coaches to use. They have videos showing different drills, techniques, practice plans, and different setups for coaches to help teach and learn. Along with tools to help learn the game better, coaches also need to understand emotions and psychology to help better understand and coach their athletes. That's where Sportsmanship BC comes in. It's a great online tool to help coaches learn more about mental health and how it can help with coaching and affect their students. Different coaching rules and regulations they might see. Coaches have rules and regulations that they must follow. These rules can be campus-wide that all college coaches from that university must follow, or nationally wide from organizations such as the NSCA, and league-wide from the league that the team may compete in. For us, that would be the Mountain East Conference, where they could have set rules each coach must follow, which then reports to the NCAA. Along with this, we have compliance and school rules. Our compliance coordinator, she helps us follow the rules, make sure we're not breaking any regarding recruiting, athletic grades, and how we run practices, how many practices we can get, and different hours we operate during the spring and fall. The NCAA also has their own set of rules and regulations, and specifically rules that the Mountain East Conference may have for us. Like I said, each individual college or university has set rules in place for coaches that they must follow. These rules usually apply to all faculty members, such as professors, janitors, coaches, administration, and anyone else employed by the college or university. Along with the schools have a compliance officer, like I mentioned, that helps coaches make sure they follow these rules and stay in check. These compliance officers have vast knowledge of the NCAA rules and regulations and help coaches make sure that they do not violate any of these rules or regulations. The NCAA, which is the National Collegiate Athletic Association, rules over all of Division 1, 2, and 3 athletics and the sports each one has to offer. It is the governing body for these divisions, and each separate league reports to the NCAA. Each league reports its violations coaches might commit to the NCAA, and then the NCAA does its own research and gives out punishment as they seem fit. Along with this, the NCAA organizes each official playoff series for each sport and division, which is kind of cool. Now, here we're going into more of the team rules and regulations that a coach may make for their personal team. Many coaches make team rules and regulations a normal part of their routine. For coaches, this is essential if they want to have control of their teams and have guidelines for how they should act, then they need these rules and regulations. These rules usually consist of the following. Punishment for acting inappropriately at away games or trips. For us, this would be like an overnight trip. We have set rules where our athletes have to be in their rooms by, say, 10 o'clock, lights out by 11. They can't be running around the halls, can't be causing problems in the hotel. And if so, we punish them accordingly. Punishment for breaking school rules. I know every school in our conference has these rules. If an athlete does break a school rule, the school punishes them, and then we might have our own separate punishment for them. GPA requirements and attendance requirements. Now, GPA requirements are a school rule, but for us, we require our athletes to go to class. They're there for an education, not for just football or any sport they're playing. They have to be in class, so attendance is mandatory. Like I mentioned before, they have to follow school rules and policies. And if they break any of these rules during practice or games, we may have to punish them accordingly. And we also have different rules regarding drug use and alcohol use. Grades and school policies. Like I mentioned, most teams have GPA requirements that are from the school. These requirements are also from the NCAA about how many credits a student-athlete must have in order to compete. In order to be a full-time student-athlete, you have to have 12 credits that you were taking during that semester. This means that if you drop under that 12 credits, you have to sit out. You are not a full-time student. You can't participate then. You can still be on the team. You can still practice, but you cannot compete. Schools will also have GPA requirements for their student-athletes in order for them to compete, remain eligible, and compete in the future. Most schools will put athletes on academic probation or watch lists in order to notify them and coaches help get them on track. For us, we get weekly reports from our faculty members, and then we get our midterm grade reports, which we can see which student-athletes are struggling, where they might need help in. We can help them find different tutors or anything else they might need. Now, here we go into team politics and social issues. As coaches, we have other issues that go with coaching as well, just besides the X's and O's of the game. We have to understand how politics, different social issues, and things such as national news play a role into how we coach. Recently, coaches have had to deal with players protesting during the national anthem, such as different players taking a knee. I know it seems to have started in the NFL with Colin Kaepernick and the other guys, but we've had to deal with it on a more nationwide scale in college and in high schools. So we have to know how to deal with that, how to address our team, how to make sure they're comfortable with talking about the issue. That's just one of the issues we might see. Other issues include racial discrimination. Now, most coaches, I myself included, do not consider myself a racist. But when you have different kids, different ethnicities on your team, and you decide you want to pick your own captains or playing time and how each kid plays, you have to be careful with how you address each student-athlete and how you go about saying, oh, well, Billy can play, but so-and-so cannot. You have to make sure you address it in a good manner that's fair for each and every athlete. This goes into choosing captains and even recruiting, just different areas you might recruit, how you talk to these athletes. You just want to make sure you're always socially correct. The coach-athlete relationship. Coaches make a huge impact on the lives of their athletes, especially at the collegiate level. Cale Gorlick did some research on the coach-athlete relationship. He actually did his whole thesis for his doctorate on this relationship. He found that athletes who have had positive relationships with their coaches have gone on to also have more positive relationships with teammates and classmates, according to the survey he did. He studied over 300 different student-athletes at the Division I level, all with the same survey just to make sure that his results were solid. And he found that 86% who reported having a positive relationship with their coach also had positive relationships with their classmates, faculty, and other student-athletes. Coaches can help influence their athletes in the classroom, practice field, competition, and socially. By creating a positive environment and relationship, the coach creates trust and can influence the athlete in all these ways. I know for myself, if my athletes trust me, it's 10 times easier to work with them. If you don't have that trust between you and your athlete, it's hard to get them to do what you want them to do and for them just to be motivated to do anything in general. Social issues with coaches. Coaches deal with many issues that are not with the sport they coach, specifically socially. These issues can consist of relationships with their coaches, administration, faculty, the community, parents, and the students of the school that you don't coach specifically. I myself am lucky and fortunate to coach all of our athletes, not just the football players, but everyone I work with in the weight room. So it gives me a wide range of different athletes to talk to and coaches to work with. Some of our football coaches only coach the football guys and only deal with them. So they might have some of these social issues that they have to work with. Most coaches have positive relationships with all these areas. However, in some cases, negative situations can occur. Some coaches can argue with administration or faculty on, say, how they interpret students' grades, different academic or scholarship money that student might be getting, or how he's being treated by the faculty. This can include fighting with administration, fighting with other coaches at the school, having problems with faculty, and inappropriate relationships with students. First, we'll touch base on just fighting with other coaches at the school. Now, I don't mean fighting in a sense like, okay, we're fist fighting, but it could deal with how, okay, say we have one baseball field. Softball and baseball might need to practice, but they can't get on at the same time. They have to work together, figure out, okay, who gets to practice when, where. If both fields are rained out, can we use the football field, and is football practicing? And I know track and field uses the football field, and soccer uses it, and different teams have to use different areas, and we all have to work together to make sure we can use the basketball courts, football field, different areas, so we're all intact, getting the practice time we need. Sportsmanship. This is always an issue for coaches. As a coach, we always want our athletes to do the right thing. That's preached by, I know, every single coach I've talked to. Strand and his associates in 2018 talked about gamesmanship and how coaches and athletes twist the rules and interpret them in order to win or gain a competitive edge. Now, gamesmanship is different from sportsmanship because it still means that they are following the rules, but they're interpreting them and using them in their favor, not just to be a good sport about it, but to use them in order to win. Coaches preach sportsmanship in order to create a positive environments in which lead to less penalties, positive practice atmospheres, and overall happier teams because of less on-field issues from games or practices. Coaches must show sportsmanship in front of their athletes when dealing with opposing coaches, players, and referees. When a coach uses negative sportsmanship, such as yelling at officials or opposing coaches and players, it shows that the players can also do the same without consequence from the coach. Now, we've touched base on a lot of issues here in a short amount of time. As a coach, you have to understand that you can't cover all these issues in one day. That's why you have assistant coaches and different people to help you with this and to help you with your student athletes. I hope you learned a little bit about today and enjoyed this video. Bye.